Okay, mine's going. Natty, you can get yours started. So welcome back. We are ACI course 10, class 5 on September 14th, 2025. I have to tell you, I took extra of the asthma inhaler for my cough this afternoon, and now I've got the nervous jitters. That stuff is awful. So if I sound like whacked out in some way, it's from the asthma inhaler. It feels terrible. It's like my hands are going, ee. So I will, thank goodness this isn't Mahamudra class. That would be bad. Okay, let's gather our minds here as we usually do. Please bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom, and see them there with you. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion, their wisdom radiating from them, encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help them in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Learning about karma and emptiness, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow that wish into a longing. And that longing into an intention. And with that intention, turn your mind back to that precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please teach us that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world. They are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands, and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with the blanket of flowers. The great mountains, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may all beings reach their total awakening for the benefit of every single other. The last class we learned about the purification practice that will function to damage our negatively planted seeds if we have the goodness and are free of the obstacles of those practices functioning in that way. And we learned that those 4 powers or 4 forces are the force of destruction, meaning generating that educated regret. And then secondly, the force of the foundation, reestablishing our understanding in karma and emptiness, that process through which we experience what we experience, and the foundation of our growing bodhicitta, like our pledge. I want to be a being that can help everybody reach their happiness. And then, oh my gosh, I did something for my own gain, willing to hurt somebody. Oh man, right? Damaged my bodhicitta there a bit, which helps grow our regret further. Then we need to do something to make up for our mistake. We do our antidote. And of course, we need to establish our power of restraint, because we can't claim we're going to purify and then go do it again. And then expect our own mind to take us seriously when we say we're purifying. Okay. So Master Shantideva takes a little bit extra time to talk about the antidote forces. We learned what they were, those main 6 ones. What is it that these 4 forces can purify? Like any negative deed, even ones that are both collected and committed, and we didn't really say what that means, but they are deeds done so strongly that they must ripen, unless you adequately purify them. Then you had a question on your quiz. What's the relationship between death and the 4 forces? And I hope I got it across that when this life ends, the seeds in our mind are what go on. That is what we are, that goes on. And so if there are negative seeds, there are, of course, negative seeds and positive seeds. And one of them will be the one that ripens at the moment of death. So if we die with a whole ton of black seeds still in our mind stream, then just the statistical likelihood of one of those black seeds being the projecting karma sending us to an unpleasant rebirth is great. And when we understand that, it's like, egads, right? I want to purify as much as I possibly can before I lose the opportunity, especially now that I know about it. Okay, so we learned that the four forces is about clearing out the obstacles to getting our bodhicitta. And then after we do that, we collect positive energy. So the second half of this class is how we collect the positive energy. And Geshe-la often says, when you do your purification, think of like you've just pulled out a weed and it came out with the roots. So in the dirt, there's like a little space, and you can, as quickly as you can, shove a good seed down in that open space. And then you don't have to dig around to plant your seed, right? It's open there and waiting. It's kind of a nice analogy to think that as soon as I finish with my purification, there's this beautiful little space in my heart mind stream that's like ready and waiting for a nice new seed to go inside there. It's not like your mind is never waiting for a good seed. It's just sweet to think of it, plant it right away, which is why rejoicing comes right after purification in our meditation preliminaries. But even when we're doing a purification practice separately, it's a good idea to, as soon as we're done, plant some rejoicing in there too, and then go do something kind for somebody so that we can fill that space. A little bit like habit might try to fill it in with another weed seed, I guess. So do the opposite. All right, so let's go a little bit more into the antidote force. Nyempo kuntu chupe top. Get vocabulary here. Okay, I have almost all of us, not everybody. Oh, I don't have that up there. We learned it last class. I have it in my notes. You don't need to know it. Nyempo kuntu chupe top means an activity done to make up for the negativity we're wanting to purify. And just as a general theme, we say do the opposite. But more specifically, we had those 6 activities. And more specifically still is the ultimate antidote to any negativity is understanding emptiness. So any level of understanding of emptiness is useful. Of course, the ultimate understanding, its direct perception, is the strongest antidote. But to be thinking about emptiness, doing some analysis, that the term nyempo, let me put it here. From that last class. It apparently has the connotation of not able to have two thoughts in your mind at the same time. So specifically, when it's applied as an antidote force, what it means is that we can't be thinking of something's emptiness and be thinking of the something in the same old ordinary way at the same time, because those two are opposites. So, for example, we have the thought and the feeling, that jerk is doing that to me, and it's all coming from my seeds for that jerk to be doing that to me. You can't be blaming the jerk for what they're doing and blaming your seeds for what they're doing at the same time, because those are actually opposites. Them or me. Them or me. We can toggle, and we probably do. Yes, them. Yes, me making them do it. But yes, still them, right? We go back and forth. But even in that effort to remember, no, not in them, from them, or everybody would be experiencing it the same way and they don't, or whatever our analysis that works for us, the sooner we apply it, the sooner we can no longer be holding them in the same way as we did before. That certain seeds are planted when we say, that jerk is doing that to me. And different seeds are planted when we say, my seed's ripening, that jerk doing that to me. Maybe we wouldn't even call them a jerk anymore. Different seeds. So, the study and meditation of emptiness as our antidote force for our specific purification that we're working on is the most powerful one. It really could be all that we needed, but we can do more than one as well, as long as we do what we say we're going to do as our antidote force. In order to apply an antidote, especially the antidote of the emptiness of the thing we're trying to purify, we need to understand what it is that we're actually trying to antidote. And it seems like it should be pretty straightforward. You know, I lied to so-and-so. That's what I want to purify. Master Shantideva says, deeper down, there are things to add to our purification practice that underlie the things we think we're trying to purify. So meaning, you know, if we lied to somebody, yes, we told the lie. And then underneath that was our thinking about why it was okay to tell the lie. And under that was some kind of misunderstanding that made me think that the telling the lie would solve the problem, right? So as we get more subtle underneath, if we purify the lie, but don't purify why we told the lie, we're just going to tell another lie in the future. Whereas if we purify the reason why we told the lie, we are also purifying the lie. So the deeper we can go, the more effective our purification can get. But we need to be able to identify the factor that we're wanting to purify. So start with the obviously purifiable, recognizable thing to purify. Oh, telling the lie. And then the habit of telling the lie. And then work on it more deeply. But he says it will help us to understand the analogy of a spiritual illness. for us to understand the deeper levels for doing our purification. He says we are all suffering from a terrible disease. And that disease is that we are all suffering from poisoning. And it means that, like, deep down, we are not broken in some way. Like, deep down, we're being poisoned. We're poisoning ourselves. There's not anybody else doing it. But we're just being poisoned. And if we can stop taking the poison, if we can stop being poisoned, things will shift very quickly. And I don't know, it's a nice mind shift to think, oh, there's something wrong with me that I, think of selfish things to do instead of otherish things to do. And it's no, there's nothing wrong with you at all. We're just all poisoned, right? So they call them the three poisons. We're poisoned in three ways. Mute you, Janet. Dukes. The word looks like duksum, but the K just makes the D short, so it's dusum. The dusum means the three poisons. And these three poisons that we have floating around inside us are the cause of all 84,000 mental afflictions. So if we can get unpoisoned, those 84,000, right, are not perpetuated. We can get rid of them. Like a physical world poison, these are insidious, right? Physical world poison, we take it, it goes through our bloodstream, it goes through all of our tissues, it makes things not work right? We go and die. With these poisons, they're just as ubiquitous. They are constant. We've always been poisoned. It would make a nice debate if I were to say, and we will always be poisoned, because that's incorrect, right? We will always be poisoned until we do something to recognize that we are poisoned and to bring about the end of it. But it's not true that we will always be poisoned. Why? Because the truth is stronger than the lie. We've heard that, but have you worked it out in your own mind about why that's true? Later. So these three poisons, they are typically called desire or attachment, aversion or hatred, and ignorance. And Geshe Michael says those are correct translations of the words, but they aren't correct translations of the experience of those things, because the words desire, attachment, they're too strong in the sense that, if I asked you, how many times were you mentally afflicted by desire today? And it's like desire would mean overcome with a craving for a need that I went out and did something, mean to somebody to get it. Did that happen today? No. But how often did I have desire, this this poison desire, like the moment my eyes woke up, I want more sleep, right? That's an ignorant desire. So Geshe says a better translation is ignorant liking. And it's like, whoa, that seems just so sissy and unimportant. Ignorant liking. But it gives a better understanding of what it is to be poisoned with ignorant liking, because we're doing it so constantly we don't even know it, right? Like we can be poisoned but with the poison and not know we're being poisoned, right? Until we get sick and die. So same, ignorant liking is hard to notice. And it's so often. And with its often ripening, we're often planting. And it's perpetuating this mistaken understanding that I'll get to in a moment. Same with the hatred or aversion. Like, how many times did you have hatred or aversion today? You know, come on, I haven't had that for a long time. But how often did I have ignorant disliking? You know, as soon as I got out of bed and my knees hurt, it's like, oh man, right? So the very subtle versions of these three poisons are the poisons that we're talking about. And if we can unpoison ourselves with the subtle versions, we're just not going to ever get to the point of the big desires and attachments and angers and hatreds. We won't get there because we've already handled the poison of ignorant liking, ignorant disliking. Does that mean we're going to become like robots and not want anything and not care about anything? No, not at all. And that's another apparent misunderstanding in not so well trained Buddhist circles, and really not so well trained spiritual practitioners of any kind could have the misunderstanding that a spiritual person is one who's free of all desires and free of all angers. And then what's left is it's just like being a vegetable. Mahayana Buddhism, that's not the goal, as we know. So ignorant liking, ignorant disliking are two of the three poisons. The third one we know, right? The ignorance itself. In the wheel of life image, the hub of the inside of that picture typically has those three animals in it, usually a rooster or a pigeon for the ignorant liking, a snake for the ignorant disliking, and a pig for the ignorance itself. And in some versions, you see each one of those animals biting the tail of the one before. And that's a useful explanation. But more accurately, the pig's got its mouth open and the snake and the rooster are coming out of the pig's mouth. The snake and the rooster come out of the ignorance because the ignorant liking and ignorant disliking is the ignorance that we're talking about, this third poison. And that ignorance is this misunderstanding that underlies every experience we have. The misunderstanding of our own nature, the misunderstanding of the object of our experience, and the misunderstanding of the interaction between us. If we did not have that misunderstanding, we could not ignorantly like or ignorantly dislike. Could we still like and dislike? Yes. Wisely like, wisely dislike. Are we supposed to like our suffering world? No. We will dislike it. We will wisely dislike it. We will wisely like reaching nirvana and our path to it, reaching Buddhahood and our path to it. We can even wisely like triple berry pie or chocolate or football, right? We can wisely like things. And it's different. Our relationship with the things are different because of the wisdom component, the wisely liking. So the ignorant liking, as we understand, is our misbelief that the object is the source of the pleasure. in my ignorant liking. So I am so sure that triple berry pie is the cause of that delightful flavor of triple berry pie when I taste it. And the argument would be, yeah, I don't get the pleasure of triple berry pie when I eat dirt. There has to be something in the triple berry pie. But, right, as we know, what is in the triple berry pie and what is in the pleasure depends on what level of emptiness and dependent origination we're working on. Let's just fly to the highest level where we understand that there's nothing in the berry pie and not even anything in those sensations I'm calling pleasure that come from anything other than my having brought some pleasure to someone else in the past. Some kind of mental imprint where my mind witnessed itself trying to help someone get some pleasure is the underlying cause for any pleasure that I can experience. So is the pleasure in the triple berry pie? No. The pleasure was in helping somebody else have a little pleasure. Can I really give them pleasure? No, because if they get any pleasure, that's a ripening of their seeds of past trying to give pleasure. All we have to do is try in ways that when someone tries to give me pleasure similarly, I will like it. I'm likely to like it. That's how we judge. So the ignorant component, as we understand, is that while I'm thinking the berry pie, the pleasure that I get from it is going to come from it, then that's going to make me have this attachment to that berry pie. Like, because it gives me that pleasure. And that means that if I don't get it, or somebody gets it before me, something in me is going to go, wait, I need to get my share. Right? I'm happy to share triple berry pie, but come on, don't take the whole thing away from me. Right? At least leave me a bite. The way our mind works. At the worst level, it's like, no, you can't have my berry pie. I'm going to keep it for myself. And then as we grow up, so to speak, right, we're willing to share here. But it's my berry pie I'm sharing. Do you see? I'm still misunderstanding. I'm still thinking that the pleasure is in it from it. And so I'm willing to be in some way insensitive or outright unkind to another for me to get the pleasure from the triple berry pie. So even if I get the pleasure from the triple berry pie is going to wear out. And so is the pleasure. Technically, the pleasure of the triple berry pie can wear out even before the triple berry pie wears out, right? I could eat so much of it that I get sick on it, and there can still be another piece left. So all kinds of personal experiences show me that it's not true that that pleasure comes from that pie. When I understand the possibility that I could experience pleasure from that object, when I have understanding, my automatic reaction would be, who else likes triple berry pie? Who can I share it with? Ultimately, like high level Bodhisattva might even give the whole thing away, aware that everybody who gets a little bit of pleasure from it, I'm planting seeds in my mind to experience pleasure in the future. Not even just pleasure from triple berry pie, just plain pleasure, right? Pleasure does not require an object to bring it. Our poison thinks that they do. that we can only get pleasure when we get what we want, when we feel good, when we're well known. Remember that 8 worldly thoughts? So ignorant disliking is the same. Blaming the other for our displeasure makes us willing to do anything we need to do to get them to stop. Because when they stop doing that thing, I'll stop having that displeasure. But I don't know, have you noticed that isn't always the case, right? We're still upset. They quit yelling at us, but my mind keeps going on and on and on about how awful it was that they yelled about us. My suffering's going on. They've quit. So ignorant disliking, we use the same reasoning to see that, yes, there are things that people should not do to other people, and we should dislike those things. And then we want to be really careful to not do those kinds of things to others, even subtly, because our wisdom is growing. So underlying, of course, is the misunderstanding itself. So we can work all day on ignorant liking and ignorant disliking, but if we don't work on our ignorance, right, we'll be working for a long time because we won't be able to stop the habit of the ignorant liking and ignorant disliking, or, it'll take a really, really long time. So Geshe-la gave us a technical definition of ignorant liking to help us understand a little bit better its subtleties. And it's this long sentence. Sakje ki nupo la yong du nyangde rang top ki midrelwar, dupe semjung sempa, for the protection of the Tibetan language. Semjung sempa means a mental function thought. Now that seems redundant to me, mental function thought, but things are not redundant in these definitions. A movement of the mind that's cognitive. So there's something about the rest of this definition about ignorant liking is that it's a thought in our mind. Let's go back up to the top. Sakje means impure. Impure, like you take a bowl of water and you throw a bunch of sewage in it. That water is now impure, like disgustingly impure, not just a little bit, like a bug's in it, impure. Sakje ki nupo means nupo means a thing, an object. The impure thing, the impurity of a thing. La Yiong means attractive. And Du Nyang Ne means appears to be, which when we say something appears to be attractive, the implication is there's something wrong with this picture, right? Otherwise, we just say it's attractive. But to say it appears to be attractive on second look, oh, not so attractive. I like the word apparently in English when somebody says, do you think so-and-so is, really, really, smart? And you go, well, apparently, right? It means their actions seem to show that, but there's some doubt in there in your own mind, right? It's kind of an unkind thing to say about somebody else. But when we're trying to figure out how our world really works, I find that word really useful. It's like, apparently there's a ficus tree in front. I've got a ficus tree here. Apparently there's a ficus tree there because it looks like it's a ficus tree from itself, but it's not really like that. So it's apparently, anyway, it's useful for me. La La Yong Du Nyang Day, something that appears to be attractive, implying maybe not. Rong Top Ki means independently. Independently, all one English word. Midrawar Dupe. Midrawar Dupe means doesn't want to lose want, right? I want to not lose something that I want, is what that's saying. So when we want something and then we get it, then we have this state of mind, is this thing that I want, I don't want to lose. It's its own level of mental engagement with an object that we like, that we own, that we need to have in order to keep it, to do what we need to keep it. And most things we put them on the shelf and we don't think we need to do anything to keep it, but they're rattling around underneath there, that we're aware that we still own it. We are aware where it is. We're aware we need to take care of it. We would be aware if somebody took it from us, and if it's really valuable, we'd get upset. Or if our house burned down, that state of mind, the wanting to keep something that we want. So what this is all trying to say is that ignorant liking is this mental function thought that does not want to lose something which is actually impure, but appears to be attractive. Ignorant liking is not wanting to lose something that's attractive, that in fact is impure. So think of your favorite thing that you own and how important it is for you to keep it and have it. And think of its good qualities and recognize that that is our belief that it is attractive. No, it's my computer. I need my computer to do what I do. And right. That's a kind of attractiveness of the object. And yet they say it's attractive only apparently, only in appearance. In fact, it's sakje, water with sewage thrown into it. Why? It's useful. I couldn't teach the Dharma without this computer. But, right? When it doesn't work and I can't get on for class, mental affliction city. When I go traveling, where do I put it to keep it safe? As if there's anything I can do worldly to keep it safe. Yeah, pack it well, package it up. None of that works. But if I didn't believe it works, I would be frozen. I would never go anywhere, right? It'd be too scary to move. So we already, of course, understand on some level that this ignorant liking, ignorant disliking is based on a mistake. But we live with it so effortlessly that it takes some work to recognize when we're doing it. Like we're doing it all the time. Can you recognize air? Like you have to turn your mind to air. Same way. This misunderstanding, thinking that the pleasure that we derive from the object is coming from the object, that mistake that the seed was planted with and is being replanted by it has the effect of making those seeds wear out. And I don't quite understand that mechanism versus the seed, to plant a seed that doesn't wear out. It's not that the seed doesn't wear out, but that we so effortlessly perpetuate the seeds of pleasure that it's as if they don't wear out. But they say we can make the pleasure of chocolate that doesn't wear out. We can't technically make chocolate that doesn't wear out. But who needs chocolate if the pleasure of chocolate comes independent of the chocolate? Right? Who needs anything? If the pleasure doesn't come from the thing, just appears to come from the thing. So we're working at the level of the ignorant liking, ignorant disliking. Nothing wrong with wanting chocolate. Nothing wrong with liking chocolate. It goes wrong when we're willing to do something unkind, unethical to get it, keep it, or enjoy it. And I don't do that. I don't steal chocolate, right? I don't not share it when somebody asks me. But deeper down, I don't have this keen awareness that the chocolate that I'm holding in my hand is nothing but the result of past sharing something that somebody else liked. Doesn't have to be chocolate for chocolate. It could have been triple berry pie in the past. Could have been apples. Could have been, I don't know, flowers. Anything that brought them some pleasure. So, yeah, I'm getting distracted. As long as we're still thinking that the object of our focus is the source of our happiness, our pleasure, even the source of the result that we want from it, then that misunderstanding will color our choice of behavior to get and keep the thing. And we may end up willing to do an unkindness to get it or keep it. I know I keep saying that, but it's the string of thought about the misunderstanding is how it affects our behavior choice. It's not just the misunderstanding, the triple berry pie or the chocolate. It's what that misunderstanding will push me into choosing to do. Okay? So the steps is that we have the seeds to see an attractive thing as the attractiveness is in it. We call it self-existent. It means in it. And that's the misperception that starts the whole thing. It's the ignorance that makes the liking the thing impure. When we misperceive the true nature of that desirable thing, then we will have mental afflictions towards it. And towards anybody who gets in the way between me and it. It colors all of our choices about how to get it, how to keep it, how to use it. And we're bound for disappointment and discontent because the pleasure is not coming from the thing. It's not just that, oh, now we know it. It never was. We always thought it was. So we have these expectations. But Sarani, triple berry pie does taste good every time I have it. Right and wrong. Hey, it's still not the triple berry pie bringing that pleasure. Technically, not even that particular taste. When every time we experience pleasure from the triple berry pie, it's actually reinforcing my misunderstanding, isn't it? because I expect it to give me that pleasure. And then it does. But it only does as a result of some kind of seed factor, not because there's something in the triple berry pie that's so pleasurable. But every time it is pleasurable, I mistake my belief and I hold to it. So really the best things that could happen is, oh, triple berry pie, and then it doesn't taste like I expect. Oh man, it's like disappointment is the best thing. No, that's terrible. I don't wish disappointment on everybody. But it finally wakes us up. There's something wrong with this picture. There must be some other way to make triple berry pie taste good all the time. So we're getting there. When we understand where things come from, we can't have ignorant liking or ignorant disliking. Geshe-la calls it stupid liking and stupid disliking, because we stupidly do things to get them or to avoid them instead of wisely doing things. So what would wise liking, how would it affect our behavior? Like, we know the punchline. Geshe-la does it with donuts. You love donuts. Give donuts away. Put the donut in somebody else's mouth. But no, then I never get to eat donut. But you don't want the donut, you want the happiness of the donut, don't you? And you give donuts to other people, look how happy they get. Your own happiness is going to show up, donut or no. And then the side effect is, at some point, you have more donuts than you know what to do with. And pretty soon you probably don't even like them anymore. But the point is, it's backwards of what our poisoned belief is. Poisoned belief, oh, donuts? Keep one for myself. Wisdom is, oh, donuts, everybody loves donuts. Let's give them away. And more pleasure comes from donuts in that way, from future donuts in that way, than if we had eaten our own. And especially if we had hoarded them. That makes donuts go bad. So the sequence is, we misunderstand an object. We want it. We're willing to do something to get it. And just that willingness to do something to get it is a movement of the mind that collects karma. Right? It's not collected and committed yet because we haven't done anything. But the movement of the mind is enough. So there's an object that appears attractive. Oh, I want the pleasure it's going to give me. Oops. Right? That's why it's called poison. It happens so ubiquitously. Wisdom would be perceive the object, understand the object. No, it's the karma of having shared with others. Collect virtue. Right? Just there. You haven't even done anything yet. Just, oh man, right? My karma ripening. Doesn't even matter if the thing's positive, negative, or neutral. Just, wow, there's my karmic seeds ripening. Plant. Then what do I want to do with it? Anybody need a pen? Or when somebody says, gosh, I've lost my pen. Here, please take mine. Yeah, so ready and willing to give or share. Remember the perfections? The willingness to give, the willingness to share. You don't technically even ever have to do it. You will do it, but it's just the willingness. All right. How am I doing here? So there are 4 steps to collecting karma. I just said them. I'm going to say them again. We misunderstand the object. The misunderstanding is, I believe it exists in it from it. Another way of saying it, I believe it exists independent of my projection. Another way of saying it, I believe it's self-existent. Like when we walk around in our grocery store world, we don't use those kinds of terms. We don't even question. This is what we think in our own mind as us on our efforts to become Bodhisattva, to grow our bodhicitta. We want to be training ourselves to wonder, what is that thing really? Where is it really coming from? So we misunderstand the object, thinking it exists independently of our own karmic seeds ripening. And so we have a reaction to it. If our perception of it is pleasurable, we want it. If it's our perception of it is not pleasurable, we want to avoid it. Technically, either way, it's a desire. It's a want. Next domino is I'm willing to do something to get it. And it's like, what's the matter with doing something to get it? Technically, it perpetuates our ignorance. I believe that I get the triple berry pie by going to the grocery store to buy it. So the grocery store had it, my money could buy it. Technically, none of that is true. It's all my seeds ripening for that to be happening. More importantly, however, is that our misunderstanding and our wanting makes us willing to do something unkind to another to get or keep it. And that's the important piece. But what do I mean by unkind? Is there some always unkind behavior, like in them, from them? Yeah, the 10 non-virtues. No, right? Unkind based on, will you like it when it comes back to you? That's what makes the 10 non-virtues non-virtues, because nobody likes getting killed. Nobody likes getting stolen from. Nobody likes their partner cheating on them, right? So that's what makes them wrong deeds, negative deeds. By choosing our reaction, in choosing our decision to act to get the thing, that's made the karma right there. That's collected the karma. When we've chosen a negative deed, then the karma we've just made is a negative karma. When we've chosen a kindness karma, what we've made is a kindness karma. So it works in both directions, those steps. But they go by, right? Like that. So swiftly. Without the initial misperception, the other ones wouldn't happen, though. And that's the point of studying, thinking about, pretending you can see emptiness directly, gathering the goodness for our bodhicitta, one of which is the direct perception of emptiness, so that our belief in those things having their natures in them is broken, even though we'll still be perceiving things in that way after the direct perception of emptiness, after our tonglam. So how would a wisdom being react if something appears to be pleasurable? Then we would rejoice in our past good deeds that are bringing to us something that appears to be pleasurable. And we would instantly want to share it or offer it. You know, and if you're all by yourself, there's nobody to share it with, you've got enlightened beings aware of you, offer it, right? We have a refuge advice to offer the first bite of everything to the holy beings. This is why they want us to plant the seeds for this instant sharing, right? The first thought before it goes in the mouth is to share it first. With whom? All the omniscient beings who are aware of you right now. That ought to bring a life of abundance, right? Pretty quickly if we do it conscientiously. If the thing's unpleasant, we don't perpetuate it by reacting in kind. At worst, stay like a bump on a log. At best, do the opposite for the other. Right? The example I keep using is there's that yelling boss. We want to yell back or cry or get up and run away, whatever our reaction. But instead, we think karma and emptiness. I'm sorry you are upset with me. That's true, right? How can I help? That's our opposite. Because the last thing we want to do is help. Right? We want them to leave us alone. Stop blaming me. So we're telling the truth and we're doing the opposite. It may make them madder. It's not related to having held our ground and done something kind. It's a ripening as when we got madder at somebody who was responding to our being mad in a way we didn't like. And so we hold our ground again. Do the opposite of what your reaction is trying to say, not the opposite of what the other person expects, and not even the opposite of what they're doing, the opposite of what your reaction wants to do. Well, I want to lie to the guy, then tell the truth. Yeah, I want to cry. Well, I don't know, then laugh. Like, do the opposite on purpose for your own mental seeds, regardless of the result. Buddha is trying to teach us how to create paradise for ourselves and all beings, full of exquisite, amazing, beautiful things and others. Not just the ability to tolerate discomfort, not just the ability to tolerate good things that wear out. He's teaching us how to stop the cycle altogether. By understanding these three poisons, we understand the disease we have and how that disease perpetuates our suffering and how that disease is a misperception and how to work on that misperception, right? To get unpoisoned. They say, Master Shantideva says, Lord Buddha is like the supreme physician who understands our illness and knows what medicine we need to cure it. He gives us the medicine, but he can't make us take it. It's up to us to take the medicine in order to get better, meaning we need to use what's taught. All right, let's take a break. Pause. Where's my back? Whether we are or not. Master Shantideva wants to reinforce our motivation to do our four powers. And I have these three in Tibetan, but because of the time, I'm just going to read them to you, but I'm not going to go through it word by word. One of the reasons to make efforts in the four powers is Lendre ki nyanye la mi ke pa. Second reason is Changse Shekang Dor Len Sul Shindu Mi Jepa. Third reason is Jongsem Kewaj Gekjong. The first reason we need to make efforts in the four forces is that we don't understand the details of what is right and what's wrong to do in our behaviors. Meaning we don't understand the consequences of all that we do. Technically, every instant, we are creating the causes for some future result, right? The specific karmic cause-effect relationship are deeply hidden reality. So we can't really know what we're doing. And so therefore, we need to do our four forces regularly because there are things that we've done that are negative seeds that we're not even aware that we did. How can we purify it if we don't know? Apparently, we are still plugging away at it. Second reason, even when we understand a little bit about karma, we still can't control ourselves to do the right thing. And so we continue to behave in ways that create negative karma. Right? So the first one is we just don't know. So we do wrong things. Second is we know, but I can't control myself well enough for certain things. Third one is purification clears away the obstacles to reaching bodhicitta. So if it's really true that we want to grow our bodhicitta, both the heart opening one and the direct perception one, then we would want to do powerful purification because purification clears away the obstacles to the kindnesses that we're trying to do, growing into those results. So these three tell us or encourage us to have a regular purification practice, intentionally, conscientiously, and then when there's something new and special that pops up that needs purifying, you do extra, a special 4 powers of purification, in addition to the daily regular practice. And in that way, we diligently, eventually, big word, get in front of the negativities that we have and that we're replanting. And then that means our focus of attention also needs the gathering, the goodness, right? So as we weed out the weeds, we've got the little hole in the ground. We want to put something good in there. So it's not like you do your purification until you're pure and then you start adding your goodnesses. You do them all together. Regular purification and regular goodness gathering. So how do we do the goodness gathering, the tunkyens we learned from the first class? There are 5 practices for collecting the positive energy that we need to gain our bodhicitta, our genuine wish. Here are the 5. Come on, Yirong. Yirong tried to escape. Yirong is the actual word for rejoicing. We often see it as tartuk. Tartuk really means completion. It's the 4th step in the 4 steps is tartuk. But it just means planting the seed really firmly, seeing it be finished and happy you finished it. Rejoicing goes much further than that. Yirong means taking joy in the good things that ourselves are doing and the good things that we see others doing, or even having done, even if we didn't see them doing it. Being happy for the goodnesses that we've done and seen done. There are 3 levels of rejoicing according to Master Shantideva. I vote that there's more than 3, but 3 that he tells us about. He says we can rejoice for anything that myself or others do to get to a higher realm. And that's like, what? I don't want to go to a higher realm. I want to be sure I don't get a lower realm. I do want a human realm, but I want a human realm in the Dharma with my faculties intact, right? So in that sense, they're calling another human life a higher realm. Like, of the different realms, human life is a higher realm. So we're not saying higher than where I am right now. We're saying I want one of those rebirths that's perfect for continuing my Dharma practice. So rejoicing in anything anybody does with that as their goal. How am I going to know that about other people? I don't know. But do I know it about me? Yeah. Right. So mainly what we're looking for here is people that are avoiding the 10 non-virtues and appear to be doing the 10 virtues. So it's different to see somebody avoid a non-virtue than it is to see them do a virtue. So really we've got 20 things we can be looking for. Somebody who could have, I'm sorry, somebody who could have stomped on the ants on the sidewalk, but instead they stepped over them. And is a rejoiceable for protecting life, not killing and protecting life. Somebody who encouraged me to step over the ants as well, right? It's another level of protecting life. They're protecting the ants and me and them. I'm sorry, I need a timeout. Okay, lungs, get me through class. Second level is rejoicing for anything that we've done or we see someone else has done in order to remove our mental afflictions completely, which really means things we do directed towards reaching our direct perception of emptiness, because from there we can reach that state of mind nirvana. Third level, where'd it go? Third level is rejoicing in anything that we ourselves do or see others do, directed towards reaching total Buddhahood. So again, we can't know somebody else's mind, but we know the behavior that we do and the state of mind that we have. And so we're just on alert for somebody else doing the same thing. If we saw a friend or knew of a friend and they said, yeah, I spent 10 minutes reading the Diamond Cutter Sutra this morning, that would be a rejoiceable for us. Presumably, they had a Mahayana motivation for reading their Diamond Cutter Sutra. And we might even think, wow, they were probably doing their antidote force for some powerful purification. Hooray, right? It's the being happy that we know of some good seeds planted by somebody. So really most important are our own seeds that we're planting. But there is so much goodness going on around us. We get so focused on our purification, right, that we fail to notice that all the good stuff going on around us is actually whose seeds ripening. Yay. Right? So we use them up as we perceive them ripening. And just to be happy about them, it doesn't replant them, but it replants the goodness of them in the recognizing, oh, I made that happen. My past seeds made that goodness. Hooray. Even when that goodness is done by someone else, if we can witness it or know about it, that's our seeds ripening for them to do the goodness. They're doing the goodness as their seeds. But they say, you know what? Where can you make virtue just by laying on your bed? You know, Pabonka Rinpoche says that. Just lay there thinking about the goodnesses that you saw other people do and be happy about it. Like, yay. And then you get, they call it, you get 10%. I don't know, you know, the percentage. But the point is, if we don't get their karma, it doesn't mean if I rejoice in your goodness, you now have 90% of it because I got 10. It's not that. It's that I'm recognizing that my seeds ripened for me to know about your goodness. And I'm happy about your goodness, and I'm happy about my seeds ripening for that goodness. And that goodness vibration adds to goodness. No, remembering a goodness that we did. The remembering is a current moment ripening and planting. And so it's adding to any goodnesses that we've got going on in there. The closer they match, the better they add to. So rejoicing practice is this powerful tool for growing goodness by noticing goodness. And instead of being jealous about it, be happy about it. And they actually say, you have a homework question, what's the opposite of rejoicing? And it's jealousy, right? To see somebody having some kind of success, some kind of pleasure, and think, why isn't that me? You know, or ew, why them? However our jealousy comes up. It's the opposite of rejoicing because we're misunderstanding that it's my seeds making them have that pleasure, making them have that success. For me to see them with that success, that's coming from me. Yay. Because we want to see more people with success. Or do we? Right? Bodhisattva is in the happiness making business. When we get jealous as a bodhisattva, it's like, oh, whoops, right? You ought to fire me here. But then we do purification and get right back on the horse, I was going to say, but my analogy wasn't that. Okay, rejoicing practice. Second way of collecting goodness is kuwa. There it is up here. Kuwa means asking the holy beings to teach the Dharma. It means turn the wheel. Asking them to turn the wheel. Have you ever went to somebody and offered them a advice or a suggestion for how to improve themselves without them asking you for your opinion? And how did that go over? Exactly. And it's like, yeah, but a holy being, you know, a teacher of the Dharma, surely, if you've got that wisdom, you should go right up to somebody and say, you know what you're doing wrong, right? You know what your problem is? Have you ever said that to somebody? It's like, has anybody ever said that to you? And what's your reaction? How dare you? right? Yeah, it's so immediate. Even if we're being polite and we go, yeah, our mind is like this completely. And those holy beings know that about us, right? Because they were there once. And so they know that they can't teach anybody anything until that person has asked, right? Until the person has opened themselves up and said in their own mind at some subtle level, oh, this being knows something I don't. Maybe they could help me. Maybe it comes out as, can I come to your class? Or maybe it comes out as, would you teach a class? But what our mind is hearing us say is, I need your help. We might get more out of the class we receive if we intentionally, right, in our own mind, approach that teacher with that mental state of, I really, really need this from you. You don't have to say it to them. All you have to say is, right, please teach. Typically, they say we need to ask 3 times. It has to do with body, speech, and mind, I guess. And the teacher is supposed to go, I don't know anything, twice. And then on the 3rd time, they go, oh, okay. Right. And they do it. So if you do ever ask somebody to teach you something and they say no, ask 2 more times, because you don't know. Maybe they really are going by the rules. And then if they still say no, you decide what you want to do with that. Depends on what you're asking for, of course. So do they need to be asked? Right? It sounds like I just said they wait to be asked because they need you to ask, because they need to know that you're willing to receive. But technically, they don't need you to ask. They need you to hear yourself ask, which is why they don't just pour it into us automatically. Not just because they know it will like pour in and pour right out or pour over and go away, but because they want us to get the goodness of asking. Right? And it's always this little different twist in how the Buddha teachers are behaving. It's not ever from their own side for their own benefit. It's always for you, for your benefit and the seeds you will plant. So be careful when you're interacting with those beings. So glowa means formally ask them to teach. And then here it says, do it regularly. The asking to teach could mean, a formal class, right? Please teach us course 11 when we get to end of course 10. But it also means bring me teachings all day long. Bring me the ability to see you teaching me all day long. Help me open my heart to recognizing that those challenges are you teaching me something. Even the good stuff that's happening is you showing me something, teaching me something. Bless my mind so that I can be on receive mode all the time. Right? Eventually, those seeds turn into actual like radio transmission from the Lama constantly, which, maybe early on in our career, we don't want that, but later on, it'll be meaningful to be able to have this direct line to the lineage always. Kulwa, it comes from asking them to teach. So, our group has this tradition, please teach, please stay. It sounds just so weird, right? Because you don't do that when you leave your neighbor, right? Please continue to teach me. You don't do it when you go to your priest, right? Please continue to teach me. But in our tradition, we all do it, but probably on automatic pilot instead of understanding why. Right? For the power of our own mind to be open to receive wisdom. Next one is Solnda, Solndep is requesting the teacher to stay. This one's even weirder than asking them to teach all the time. This one's saying, please, please don't die. Please don't reach your total nirvana and go to your paradise because I need you to stay. It's like, well, how selfish is that? You know, it seems to me that they roll their eyes every time we say that because we must be misunderstanding it because it seems like a dumb thing to say to somebody. But the reason we're saying it is to imprint in our own mind this humility, this need that until I have the realizations myself, I need contact with them. And my own mind needs to keep hearing myself say, I need you to stay close to me because I need your help. If we're thinking of them at all worldly, they can't decide whether they're going to die or not. But our seeds to keep them available, those are not their seeds. Those are our seeds. And so in this tradition, in the classical tradition, there are long life prayers for the teachers. And your group would gather regularly to sing the long life prayers for the teacher. And the long life prayers are supposed to keep them living a long, long life. And groups do that. And I don't know, in my lifetime, the teachers that I had some contact with, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Geshe Geltsen, Lama Zopa, they've all died. Oh, Ken Rinpoche, they've all manifested dying. And it's like, I know their students did their long life prayers, right? I know they asked them to stay. So I don't know if any of those students, if their relationship with their Lama has been cut just because the Lama doesn't have a physical body anymore. Right? So it really doesn't have to be a scary thing for your Lama to disappear in the physical. It's just unfortunate because to have them in the physical, we have access to them as a powerful karmic object that we can use, that we're supposed to use for our benefit. And so for our own mind to hear ourselves saying, please stay in this world, please stay close to me. They don't need to hear you say it. They want you to hear you say it. So we say it out loud in our minds, when you email them. And again, in this culture, if outside people hear us saying it, it just like that group, they're really weird. They ask their teacher to not die, right? To live a long life. And it's like, who does that? But we know what we're doing when we do it. So please do it with your teachers, right? They'll understand. It's for the students' benefit. Yeah. Requesting them to stay. Fourth one, gathering the goodness to grow our bodhicitta is Noah. Noah means dedication versus Munlam, which is a prayer. So when we pray Munlam, we are having an aspiration that something might happen. When we're Noahing, dedicating, we're taking the virtue of something we've already done, and we are directing those seeds towards achieving a certain goal. And they say by dedicating our good seeds, we make it such that those seeds can't be damaged by the next mental affliction similar to its opposite that could damage it. And we said that earlier, and somebody asked, why would that be? And here they're talking about dedication, meaning you are giving those seeds away. So our general dedication prayer is, by the power of the goodness, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So we're giving our seeds that all beings reach their total Buddhahood. You're one of all beings. So it's not like everybody's get the benefit that you did, but you. But when we see ourselves give something to somebody, what happens? It comes right back. You know, how long does it take? It has to go out around Pluto before it gets back to me. It takes a while. But the only way things come back to us is by having shared them or given them away. So dedication is taking those goodnesses that we want, right? We did them to make ourselves better, happier, right? Closer to Buddhahood. And we go, great, here to everybody else. And we can be more specific. Here I go again. We can be more specific with our good deeds and dedicate them for somebody's specific benefit. And then we get back some kind of specific benefit, you know, which can be useful. So they say there are 4 kinds of dedications, or like 4 levels of dedication. One is that general dedication, like the general dedication prayer we use. It basically is saying, I give my goodness so that all beings can reach their total enlightenment. Yeah. Hugely selfish, wisely selfish thing to do, because it's going to come back to you as your own enlightenment. Ta-da, that's the purpose. Do they not benefit at all? No, of course they do. Because you will see them benefiting. Right? Do they, from their side, their own side, benefit from our dedication? Yeah, you can't really say no. You have to say, who would that be? What them? Right. So yes, they benefit. Second level, we can dedicate our virtue towards helping the sick. We can dedicate our virtue towards helping needy people, hungry and thirsty, they say. We can dedicate our virtue so that all beings get anything they want, samsaric or ultimately. Have something specific in mind when we dedicate. I don't know. I don't see why we would dedicate to anything other than everybody's total enlightenment. But maybe it seems too far away to be beneficial for someone who's, you know, needing a meal at the moment. So dedicating as a practice, as a frequent practice, actually, but at least as a daily practice. And so these are built in to our meditation preliminaries. Are you noticing? The 5th one for generating the goodness for our bodhicitta is called Dongsam. Dongsam is the word for the mind of giving. Dongsam. But Geshe-la says it's more the sense of the giving of yourself, the surrender of, you know, this ego, need, me, rather this surrendering my old way of being. The willingness to give up my old way and learn new. To have that state of mind as we are doing our practices helps us be able to change. Right? This sense of surrender. I don't know, over the course of our student career, this term surrender keeps coming up, especially in Bokjimpa courses. It's such a huge factor, and they don't really give specific practices about it. It's a really personal relationship to have with our own self and with our personal teacher. So we want to be practicing these regularly, which is why they are built into our meditation preliminaries. Our warm-ups for meditation practice, they're really skillful means to make us do them. There's a prayer called the 7-limb prayer that is the 7 steps of the meditation preliminary. They, when I first learned the preliminaries, I used this prayer. And then, the danger is you'll just rattle off the prayer and not think about each step. But it's nice to have each of the lines as a trigger for the next piece if you're not familiar with the meditation preliminaries. So the prayer, you start by setting your motivation and going for refuge in bodhicitta, which is other prayers that you use. Then you imagine your holy being there before you. And the prayer starts with my body, speech, and mind. Humbly I prostrate. Yeah, which is the mental prostration. And make offerings both set out and imagined. I confess my wrong deeds from all time. 4 powers then. And rejoice in the virtues of all. Please stay until samsara ceases. And turn the wheel of dharma for me if you're all by yourself, for us if you're with a group. I dedicate all my virtues to the great enlightenment. And then you would follow that with the mandala offering prayer, the 7-pile mandala that we do before class. Here's the Great Earth, that one. And then your bodhicitta prayer, that once you get your bodhisattva vows, you have this prayer that you say to renew your vows and renew your bodhicitta. 15 minutes. So we have 15 minutes. Let's do our meditation preliminaries together, right, in a quick way, so that we can get a feel for how those preliminaries are these practices that Master Shantideva is talking about. And then, of course, recognize that any of them can be used individually as its own practice, right? We can do prostrations as a practice. We can make offerings as a practice. Right? Any of them can be separately used. And then, of course, our purification practice we want to use on the fly. And actually, our rejoicing practice we want to use on the fly also. Like, as we see good stuff happening, wow, I made that, right? My seed's ripening. May everybody benefit. And then the dedication on the fly. I dedicate that goodness that I just saw that my seeds ripened. I dedicate that to everybody reaching their ultimate happiness, right? It'd be on alert always for doing our purification and growing our goodness for our bodhicitta to arise. Okay. So let's pretend we're going to meditate, but we're not going to meditate. We're just going to do the preliminaries, right? So sit yourself properly. Recall that being that we want to be able to help ultimately. and how we will be able to do so when we clean out our obstacles and gather our goodness to grow the wisdom that is Bodhisattva. And think of that precious holy being, the one we know knows what we need and how to help us. See that they are a manifestation of those three jewels. Go for refuge to them. Generate your bodhicitta, your wish to reach total enlightenment for the sake of all beings. Explain to that holy being what you mean by that. Recognize again that that being before you has done what they needed to do to transform themselves. And now they see directly what we need to do to transform ourselves. Feel your admiration for them, your aspiration to become like them. And make that prostration. You can imagine physically doing it and holding that state of awe and humility and devotion and gratitude and openness to receive from them. And make offerings to them. Recall they can be things no one owns. Offering of your own body, meaning yourself in service to them. They can be those traditional offerings. And probably most importantly, you'd be offering them some way in which you actually put into practice something they had taught you. Of all our offerings, they say that's the ones they like the best. And they especially love for us to hear ourselves telling them about it. So you offer. I did my ACI homework. I did my purification. See them accept your offerings and so happy to receive them. You feel so safe and comfortable in their presence that you open your heart and offer some negativity that you would like to purify. Use your 4 powers. Just tell them the facts of the situation, then generate your regret, your foundation, your antidote, and your power of restraint. And then rejoice in the virtues of all. Tell them of some especial kindness that you did recently. Tell them of some especial kindness or goodness you saw someone else do or receive. Recognizing those were your seeds ripening. And then think of someone you maybe don't like so much or are jealous of, and tell that holy being of some goodness about them also. See that holy being enjoying your sharing. Ask them to please, please stay close. Ask them to continue to teach you, both formally and informally. And then dedicate the virtues of just these warm-ups to all beings gaining their enlightenment so that they can help all other beings gain theirs. And think of doing your part in all of that. Then if you were going on to meditate, you could take a little break to adjust your body. And then you would sink back in and start your meditation practice. What we'll do is dedicate So think of the goodness that we've done in this class, motivated to become one who could help that other in that ultimate way. We've done a great, great goodness. So be pleased with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy guide. There they still are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them again to please stay close, to continue to guide you and inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good, we want to keep it forever, and so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person, to share it with everyone you love, to share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with loving kindness. And may it be so. Yay, thank you very much for the opportunity. We are so much wiser now. Have fun. Thank you for your papers, everyone. I will see you Thursday evening, okay? If not sooner. Okay, bye-bye.